After adding the player score, it would be great to save the player's best score, so our game feels a bit more competitive. Unreal Engine provides a saving framework that we can use for this, so let's use it. To store the player's save data, I've created a class that inherits from uSaveGame. All data inside this class will be saved automatically when we request it, which makes working with save data very straightforward. In this example, I simply added an integer variable called player best score. Then I created a game instance. The game instance is another part of Unreal's gameplay framework. It persists throughout the lifetime of the game, which makes it a perfect place to store information that should be available across the entire game, in our case the save data. Inside Asteroid game instance file, I have a forward declaration for the created save game. Then inside the class I have a function called get or load asteroid save data that has one default parameter. Then I have a function called save player best score, one property for save slot name and another property for save slot index, then a callback function called onGameAsync saved. We are going to use async saving. And lastly I have a pointer for loaded save game object. Inside C++ file I have a forward declaration for gameplay statics and for our created asteroid save game. This get or load asteroid save game is pretty simple. First of all, we check does save game file exist, and if it doesn't, we simply return null pointer because there is nothing to load. We only load asteroid save game if we don't have a valid save game or we force it. Otherwise, we also simply return our loaded save game. So save player best score is also pretty simple. Here we create new save game object, then we create a delegate to whom we're gonna bind our own game async saved callback, then we set player best score that inside asteroid save game, and then we simply overwrite our loaded asteroid save game to the new one. And then we request async save game to slot. And when it's done, this callback will be called and we can see if it was successful or not. And that's pretty much it. We are ready to use our game instance. For this, click Blueprint class and search for our asteroid game instance. And call it BP game instance. Now click Edit, Project Settings and type game instance. You should see game instance class and here just select our BP game instance. And now when our project launches, this game instance will be set as default game instance for this project. We're gonna use our saving logic inside asteroid game mode. First of all, I have a forward declaration for game pawn and save game. And before we can continue, on previous time I made a small typing error. Instead of adding blueprint callable, I added blueprintable. So right now it's correct. I also added get player best score function. It is also blueprint callable. Then I have begin play and end play, a function called get asteroid save game, a callback function on player died, and I store a pointer to game pawn that is called asteroid player. Inside CPP file I have all required includes. In begin play I get player pawn and cast it to asteroid game pawn, and I bind on player died callback function to on health depleted delegate. In end play I simply unbind it. Then get asteroid save game is pretty simple function. I get game instance, cast it to our asteroid game instance, and try to get or load asteroid save game. Then I return it. Get player best score is also very simple. I call this new created function, and here I simply return the correct score. On player died is also not very complicated. I get game instance again and I get save game. If we have a valid save game, I try to compare current score to saved best score, and if current score is greater than saved best score, I save new score. Otherwise, if we don't have anything in the memory and we cannot load anything, we simply load, we create a new save here basically. And that's it. We can display player best score in our restart level widget. First of all, I have a forward declaration for text block, and inside the widget class I store a pointer to this text block that is called best score text block. And also pay attention that I am using bind widget meta tag again. Inside CPP file I have an include for text block, and inside native construct I get game mode and cast it to our asteroid game mode, and if it's a valid game mode I get player best score, and then I format this best score into the text, similar to how we did it for simple score, and then I simply set this formatted text to our best score text block. We are ready to add a text block to our widget, but first of all let's rename this restart level widget to simply WBP restart level. Yeah, now it's much better. Open this widget and I would like to see best score text above this you are dead text. For this we should wrap this text with vertical box. So type wrap and select wrap with and type vertical box. Now we can duplicate this text and maybe add 30 to top padding. Now we don't need any localization, we can type a placeholder text here, best score, and now when we actually need to rename it to, let's check it, best score text block. Now when we press compile, everything should be fine. Now when we play and we don't hit any asteroids, our best score should be 0. Let's check it. Yes, best score is 0. Now let's play restart and hit some asteroids. Now let's try to die. And now we see a correct new best score. We can even stop simulation, press play. And best score is still 3. Great, we added it. You might be wondering where the saved file is located, and I'm gonna show you. For this you can simply open your asteroid.game.u project file location, then you can open the saved folder, and inside you can find save game folder, and there is our asteroid save slot.